So I did promise there'd be a Q&A to ask lots of questions of Mick. I think I'll ask Mick and Robin to perhaps come up and share the podium with me, and Robert and Colin is needed to answer any questions you might have. And I'll see if I can get Tim back on the line as well. This has come from the world's worst wireless now, so it's a giveaway at a conference. Hey Tim.
Hey mate, how are you?
I'm good. We've got the crowd back on, so we're about to have the Q&A session, so hopefully the first question will come in your direction. So are there any questions before I start my own set of questions? Yeah, Ross.
I'd like to ask a question of all the panel about the rollout of the NBN. So in Canberra, we're currently working towards a 3-year plan of actually hooking up the whole of Canberra by 2015. That's all on track at the moment. So I'm just wondering what you think we can do to exploit the advantage that we will probably be the first metropolitan centre in Australia to be hooked up to the NBN.
Well, I might get Mick to open up with a response, and just in case my little microphone on the top, you didn't get that for you, Tim, was about what are the first mover advantages. Oh, good, great. So Mick, I'll get you started on that.
If I go to the economic advantages, I mean, I think it gives us a start over some centres. I mean, it's not as if we're the only people in the world thinking this, but from a Canberra and Canberra region point of view, if that gives us a leg up, if it gives us a start in that particular race, then we should be talking about how we use this technology to encourage, address world markets. Stop thinking about the region. Stop thinking about the 360,000 people in Canberra, and start thinking about the 2% of the world market that we might be able to get. And that's a change. I don't think Canberra, many people in Canberra actually think that way. We don't think of ourselves as a world hub, but we can be. And in the race of Australian citizens to do exactly that, we've got a leg up.
Robin, you have a thought on that one?
Having gone through wearing the scars, still rolling out Transact and slippages and all the things we worked through there, I probably think it's going to take a whole lot longer, and it's got to survive a political gauntlet. But that's not a reason to pause on this. The bandwidth is either there for many people or can be made available, and it's technology is not the showstopper here. So I would agree with Mick. Let's step up and embrace the challenge and show what can be done with more flexible working arrangements. I think that's part of Canberra's unique destiny in Australia and almost in the world. There's not too many planned cities that boast the same mix of industries and the same opportunities we've got.
Yeah, the only comment I'd make is the onus, if there's one entity that really could make a big change, it's the ACT government. Because the ACT government is both a state and local government. It's flattened the governance in the town. It's effectively a city-state, so we have a very constrained environment. So the opportunity to take the fact that all the citizens that are part of that ACT community can be reached by high-speed broadband really provides a platform that enables ACT government to deliver services in a unique way. And exactly how that is unique, I think the onus is then back on all of us to suggest that we're prepared to do things differently. We'd like a virtual shopfront, we'd like community forums in a digital way, and obviously there's, at the leadership level in the ACT government, a lot of support for that, and the fact that the ACT government's also showing some leadership in including the regions in those conversations, I think augurs extremely well for that central hub. Good connectedness with an outer ring of perhaps not as richly and deeply connected, but still connected in ways that are described by the Smart Work Hub process.
Peter, can I just pick up on that? I think it goes back to Robin's comment about the political gauntlet, and quite often, I think we generally understand that the political gauntlet's a lot easier to run when politicians see that they have the support from specific sectors of the community. Here, I think you're already talking about the ACT government, we're talking about the federal government, we're talking about New South Wales government as being potential supporters as employers of the concept and allowing their departments to be able to embrace it and promote it. But I wonder if there's also an opportunity through private enterprise to be able to target and to establish advocates in private industry. As much as it may not necessarily be a large scope opportunity in the ACT, there is still a bunch of employers there that might be able to lend themselves to be advocates and supporters. Either Mike or Robin or even Tim, what are your thoughts around a focus even more so on private enterprise as opposed to government?
Well, the Telework Advisory Committee, Tim, is pretty much that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a coming together that Nina's a part of from DBCDE of industry and government, and it's worked extremely well. I think it even surprised the government to some extent. One, with how much the industry would embrace the type of concept, the telework concept. Government, it's a perfect example actually of it all working together. Government does what it does best, which is set the policy parameters, and then provide some sort of coordination support for what the industry can bring, the innovation the industry can bring, and the industry brought plenty to that concept. So much so that there's this real groundswell of support for that, the telework concept. And then CEO's decision. What that did was actually create a further media interest and brought the whole thing away from technology story into the mainstream media. So that, again, the Financial Review wrote a half-page editorial on the issue of telework at the height of the sort of Marissa Mayer from the CEO of Yahoo's decision to ban teleworking or to restrict teleworking at her organisation. A half page in the Fin Review. I mean, it's not ordinarily the newspaper that you would expect to be sort of waxing lyrical about the sort of the pros and cons of this new type of work. That to me just sends a signal that there's something happening out there. Just in terms of directly answering the gentleman's question, I think there's kind of two things happening. There's this sort of revolution from above, government policy, government investment in high-speed broadband, and you're right to pick up on that. I think early adopters will get a massive advantage over people that come in late. And that's not always the case when there's a radical or transformational shift happening in an economy, but early adopters will get a huge advantage for this. So I think if the ACT government and the federal moving to deploy things like teleworking policies and the ability to work remotely in smart work centres focused around the region, then I think that's going to pay off in spades. But the really big driver, and this gets to the question about the politics of this, is people will vote with their feet. And they are voting with their feet in terms of their willingness to do things online, to live their lives online, to buy movie tickets online, to book restaurants, to find out where they're going, to navigate online, to engage with the public transport sector online, to pay their bills online, to call people using video, to download stuff, to research things, to work basically and live online. Banks are promoting online mobile banking on smartphones now. Sorry, turn it around. There we go. Mobile banking now on smartphones. They don't do anything unless there's a dollar in it. They don't do anything unless there's a dollar in it. So for mine, that is a very strong market signal that other industries and other organisations ought to be moving to those platforms, because that's where people's lives are moving.
Okay. Thanks, Tim.